Hi guys, what a gorgeous, beautiful day in Harare, sunny Sunday. It's a beautiful day. What a time to be alive, what a time to live, what a time to be young, what a time to have energy, what a time to have a vision, what a time to go after life. You know, opportunities abound everywhere. This is a time to be alive. There's no better time to live than now. This is the moment, this is the time you have been waiting for, that I have been waiting for. For me, my vision is a skill in every hand. I want to put a skill in every hand across Africa, in every village, a skill in every hand. Every hand in Africa, I must put a skill in it. I've just been going through notes for my video today, and just last week I talked about how there's a race in the artificial intelligence space between the Americans and the Chinese, and both are going to win, but Africa is going to win and rule the world of work in the not so distant future. So today I want to go deeper and explain exactly how Africa is going to win in the future of work, how Africa is going to dominate the future of work. This is what this video is about. Africa, we have the potential to build a multi-trillion-dollar skills economy just by doing what artificial intelligence cannot do. And that opportunity is there. And I'm gonna go down and break it for you guys. I want to explain it to you so that you can see the opportunity that we have, an opportunity of a lifetime that we as young African people have to change the story of Africa. The opportunity of a lifetime that we have, an opportunity that I and many others have already started to attack, an opportunity which we need to go after strongly and heavily. Let's get down to it. Artificial intelligence is moving fast, very, very fast. We cannot deny it. So no one ever predicted how fast AI is going to move. White collar jobs are disappearing faster than anyone ever predicted. Journalism, architects, designers, lawyers, accountants, copywriters, all people who are doing white collar jobs today, they are at risk because their jobs will be disrupted anytime. That's how fast artificial intelligence is moving. But there is a vacuum which will be left, a vacuum which is there. So there will be a huge demand for physical human labor, skilled physical human labor. There is a vacuum for that, and that vacuum is going to remain because human beings, they will always be needed in certain and specific areas. This is where Africa has a golden opportunity. This is where Africa stands to benefit. This is where Africa will reap the most reward. See, as we move in this world where the Chinese and the Americans, they are automating, they are adopting AI at a rapid pace, there are going to be a lot of changes to the way work is done in the real world, in the practical world. You see, as the Americans and the Chinese automate, they're having a shortage of labor. They do not have sufficient numbers of skilled labor, and they are now facing housing construction delays. They are now having problems. They cannot provide enough nursing care for their young ones and their elderly. They are food insecure. They cannot grow their own food because they don't have the manpower to do it. This is the opportunity for Africa. These are the gaps which Africa can solve. So these problems I'm talking about today, these are not tech problems. These are real world problems which need real people to solve. And Africa has those real people. I want to go into the advantages which Africa has. Africa has three advantages. There's a triple advantage which Africa has. The number one is the youth. You know, half the population in Africa is below the age of 20. You compare that with the Chinese, where over 300 million people in China are over the age of 60. And that is an old and aging population. It is the same story in Japan, South Korea, Europe, and the US. These people, they don't have young people with the energy to work. They don't have the skills. So what are they going to do? They will look for someone to provide that skill, that workforce. In Africa today, we are saying we have that youth to our advantage. That's an advantage. Number two, we in Africa have a hands-on culture. You know, we know how to make things with our hands. We know how to fix things with our hands. We have a hands-on culture. We just need to be skilled in the right way. We need to be skilled in the correct things which are in demand. If you look at the memes going on right now between the Chinese and the Americans, after the trade war between Trump and Xi Jinping, we are seeing memes coming out of China depicting Americans as being overweight, unskilled, and unable to make their own stuff in their own factories. You know, Trump wants the United States to reindustrialize, but the Chinese are laughing at them, saying, look, you don't have the people to reindustrialize. You don't have the skill set to do that. But we as Africa, we're looking at the Chinese and we're also laughing at them. Look, you guys are going old. You guys are getting richer. You have forgotten where you came from. You used to be hands-on, but you are no longer hands-on. And us as Africa, this is our turn. This is our time to become hands-on. Number three, we as Africa, we have cost advantages than anyone else. China, it grew very, very quickly because in the 80s and the 90s, they had a low labor cost. So the entire world went to China to produce their stuff there. But not anymore. China now is very expensive to build stuff there. We know this because people who are manufacturing in China are saying so. Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, say the same thing. China is not a low-cost production center. They are a high-cost production center. Their only advantage is they have a very high concentration of skilled labor. But Africa can also have a very high concentration of skilled labor at a lower cost. And we can outcompete the Chinese and everyone else, right? Let me get down into the blueprint, how exactly Africa can transform its fortunes and win this war which is going on right now. The first point is mass practical skills training. We need to have mass practical skills training. Africa, we need to train at least 100 million youth in trade skills over the next decade. We have to go in every village, in every town, in every city. We need to train as many people as we can. 100 million people minimum. We skill them. Platforms like MasterPren, which I am building. We are going to be having workshops in every town, every village, in every city across Africa. Just last week, we were in Gezi. We're working on a workshop there. We want to train hundreds of people there, young people. We want to equip them with the skills that we know are in demand today, not just here in Zimbabwe, but all over Africa and the world. This is the baby steps which we are taking as MasterPren. MasterPren, a platform which will train millions of people. Imagine if every country has its own platform. Imagine if every country in Africa have people who are focused on training practical skills to the people in their communities. What will happen? What's going to happen there? Just imagine how transformative such an exercise can be for Africa. So mass training of practical skills is critical. We have to cut all the bureaucracy, cut all the red tape, and let the people who have the capacity to train people, train people. That's what we need to do as a first step. The second step, what we need to do as Africa is certification. You know, we need to have one standard for trade skills, one standard for practical skills across Africa. I am proposing today that Africa, we need to have our own Pan-African skills passport. This is a card that will have your details and the skills which you have been trained for. And this document, it will be stored on the blockchain, easily verified. We will know that this boy grew up in Zimbabwe, in this village. He undertook such training on this date, and he was mentored by this master, and all this information will be stored on the blockchain. And we can verify its authenticity from anywhere around the world. We won't even need to have the physical copy, but we can check on the blockchain if this guy with his African skills passport, is he authentic? We need to do that. We can do it, and we will do it. We will go to every government across Africa. We'll go to every city, wherever. We will talk to whoever who needs to be spoken to, and we will convince them to be part of this network, of this standard. This standard will allow African skilled workers to work across borders. This will allow African skilled workers to move around the world with one certificate, with one qualification, which is accepted worldwide. See, the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement cannot work if we are only saying there's free movement of goods without the free movement of labor. The free movement of labor is critical for any kind of agreement to work in Africa. As long as people are not freely allowed to move, this Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement will not work. So we are preparing for such an eventuality, because we know that this requirement for the movement of labor is going to be realized. And we, as MasterPren, me and myself, we are already planning for that time. And we are saying we are going to have the African skills passport ready, fully backed up on the blockchain, traceable, and everyone can vet and see what qualifications someone has, who trained him, where he got trained, where he did the apprenticeship. Everything will be there, stored on the blockchain. Number 4, we need to build a skills marketplace, a practical skills marketplace. Now, I know over the last 10, 15 years, we have seen a number of job sites pop up all over Africa. And all of these, they've never worked. And I'll tell you why. Number 1, the timing was just not right. Africa, up until this point, does not have a big enough pool of skilled labor for you to build a successful skills marketplace. See, a marketplace has two sides. You have the demand side and the supply side. So Africa looked at the demand side for labor and said, okay, fine, we can build a marketplace. But then the supply side was not there. Therefore, the chicken and egg problem kicks in, and Africa was not able to build a successful job site. But what we would do with this blueprint, we would do the mass practical skills training, we build the Pan-African skills passport, and then we would then have a skilled marketplace. A marketplace where we can have people with skills that have been authenticated on the blockchain. We put them on that marketplace to match the demand which is there globally. This will be a very powerful and most likely successful marketplace because it will have all the ingredients in place. This is the blueprint that I have for Africa to create a multi-trillion-dollar skills-based economy. And we can do this in the next 10 years by training 100 million young Africans. You know, Africa is sitting on a gold mine. And not the literal gold. I'm talking about people. I'm talking about potential. I'm talking about practical intelligence. You see, every African who is able to fix stuff, who is able to grow stuff, who is able to build stuff, is worth much more than all the gold and the silver underneath the surface of Africa's continent. The gold and the diamonds, which have brought us conflict over the last decades, are not worth more than a skilled African. A skilled African is what we need. You see, what we are doing with this vision, for me, this is not about jobs. This is not about building an economy. This is not about that. This is about power as Africans. This is about prestige. It's for us as Africans. This is our time. This is about us as Africans feeding ourselves. This is about us as Africans building our own cities. This is about us as Africans taking care of our young ones and our elderly. This is about us as Africa taking the future, our future, into our own hands. If we can harness all this potential that we have as Africa, if we can put together this blueprint that I've outlined in this video, if we can put it to work, I tell you, we will not only satisfy the needs of the world, but we will build our own economies. We will lead our own economies without any middleman. We won't need to call the Chinese to come and build an airport for us. We will build the airport because we would have the skilled tradespeople to do that. We will build our own ports. We will build our own roads. We won't need someone to come in. We won't need any middleman. This is what it's about. So when I say a skill in every hand, in every village across Africa, this is what I'm talking about. So this is the vision that we are excited to go after. This is the vision that I'm excited to go after. This coming week, we are going to be having a workshop in Ngezi. This is a town, a small mining town, which is about 150 kilometers from the capital, Harare. And it's a city which it's a town that I fell in love with. It's about 70 kilometers away from the Harare-Bulawayo highway. And we went there last week. We spoke to a number of people, we spoke to schools there, and we're gonna have a workshop this coming week. We're expecting around 50 kids there. We can have less, that's okay. We're starting small, starting very small. We want to have people there, train them, see how it goes. And we want to replicate these workshops across the whole of Zimbabwe. You know, this is a strategy that I think will work, and I'm excited to be sharing the story with you guys, and you see what we're doing at MasterPren, see what I am doing with this vision. And I know we are going to realize this vision. 100 million Africans with a skill in their hands in the next 10 years. Let's go.